Hi guys, it's Chloe and welcome back to my seventh, I'd like to say sixth video in my Together series, which you guys should know about by now if you've been watching my channel for a little while. I'm going to put the playlist down below so you guys can check the rest of them out. Basically, Together, if you're new, is a series I try to do a lot. I talk about the issues that teenage girls or kids growing up in our society face these days, and I talk about my take on these personal experiences, maybe some advice. I just try to bring light onto these issues, and I try to spark a conversation around it, because I think we all go through times where we feel like we're the only one dealing with something, or we feel really alone on something, and I want to bring light to all this stuff. So also leave your suggestions down below if my comments even work. YouTube has had my comments disabled for probably 2 months now. I don't even know why. I've been trying to work with them and see if I can get it back, but it's a whole thing going on. So yeah, I didn't disable comments, YouTube did. Today, I want to talk about something I have been wanting to make a whole video about on this channel for so long. I've touched on it before, and it's probably my most requested video in this series. It's body image and our perception of our body and society's influence on that. It's something I feel like I have a lot of experience with, and I can really talk about from experience and my thoughts on. And honestly, it's something I've wanted to do for years. I thought I'd be really inauthentic coming on here and telling you to love your body and you're perfect the way you are and all that stuff, when I was so far from believing all that stuff. And I'm not perfect now, but I think I am at a place where I'm able to talk about it and able to reflect kind of on my journey and look at it more in the eyes of everybody else and all the other teenage girls and boys in the country who are feeling the same kind of thing I have been feeling for a really long time now. So I think I'm in a really good place right now to talk about it. And it's not that I started changing my body or working out a lot or eating healthy, which obviously is important, but it's not that I changed my body. It's that I changed my thinking and my mindset. I don't even know how I did it. I just kind of realized a lot of different things. Like, I feel like Kylie Jenner right now.
I feel like this year is really about like the year of just realizing stuff, and everyone around me, we're all just like realizing things.
I kind of just started realizing how minuscule of an issue it is and how much influence I was letting like everyone else in our culture and society have on myself, which is really messed up now that I think about it. And also, don't think I'm perfect throughout this whole video. Obviously, I'm not looking in the mirror every 5 seconds with a smile on my face. There's things I don't like about my body, but it's not at the extreme where I was even at the beginning of the year. I want to kind of start with my story a little bit, just because I think I will get talking from there, because sometimes these videos I just do on the spot. I don't plan anything out. I just kind of talk like I'm talking to a friend that is not replying to me. I started having a bad body image, I think starting around like 2nd or 3rd grade. I would look down at my thighs at school and I'd see how like they flattened out on the chair, and I'd look at everyone else's thighs on the chair and I'd notice that mine looked a lot bigger than everybody else's. And as I grew up and I started going through puberty, like 4th grade or 5th grade, I started kind of like rounding out and I got a little bit of like a pot belly. But as I grew up and I got older and I kind of grew into my body more, I started to realize that my body was not the typical body that society wants us to have, if that's said right. My body was not the body that society wanted a girl to have, basically. That sounds really dramatic, but I think it's true. My thighs were a little bigger, my stomach wasn't fully flat, my butt stuck out a lot. At first, it started with me just comparing myself to other girls my age or other girls at my school, and then it kind of bled into like social media. I think for sure it's one of the hardest times to be a teenage girl in this world, because we have social media all around us, we have media all around us. Celebrities are such a huge influence on our lives that it's impossible not to compare yourself to that, and it's impossible not to start feeling terrible about yourself from it. As I started following celebrities on social media and started getting more into like pop culture and stuff like that, I started looking at like models and started following them on Instagram and seeing how I looked compared to them, and I started feeling really terrible about myself, and I just developed a terrible perception of myself, which I've carried with me throughout my life kind of so far, which is not great. And it started getting even worse in high school when everything seems to shift more onto how you look and how you appear to the world. And I would go shopping, and I'd always I could never find my size in shorts or jeans because my thighs were bigger, and I just felt overall so terrible about myself. I'd look in the mirror every day, I'd feel awful. Every day I'd say, I need to change this, I need to stop eating so much, I need to work out like crazy. And it's really a terrible way to live, to always be feeling awful about your body and insecure about yourself, and to have this false perception about your body, because no matter what you look like, it's a false perception, because there is no, yes, there is ideals to strive for, but there's no ideal to strive for, if that makes sense. It's completely made up. It's a false concept that we've somehow allowed to just influence this whole entire country, or this whole entire world even. We've allowed it to be such a prominent part of being a teenager or an adult or growing up. Your body has to reflect how society wants it to look in order for us to be accepted and loved, which is our ultimate goal, I think, to be loved and accepted by everyone. Pretty awful to feel like you'll only be loved by society or people if you look a certain way. There's certain things that would just trouble me so much that I had no control over. The belief that really stuck with me was that I will be happy once I look this way. I'll be happy once my stomach is completely flat, my thighs are small and can fit into size 24 shorts. I will be happy once my waist is smaller, and I'll be happy then. And that's the only time I'll be happy. That's the only time I'll be loved and accepted by everyone. And I think this is something we all think so much, and we let ourselves think. But it's so not true. I think we all deep down know, no matter how terrible you feel about yourself or your body, that there's so much more to life than that. There's so much more to life than how you appear really on the outside. There really is so much more to that than that. I know our society highlights it so much, how important it is to look good and wear good clothes and have the perfect body and face. It's such a thing in our society, especially social media. Everyone who's a model has an Instagram, and everyone who has an Instagram is expected to be a model. So it's become such a problem, I think. But really, I think it starts with yourself. I think hopefully our society and our culture is going to change at some point, and I think it's really starting to. There's been campaigns of girls with all different types of bodies, and there's hopefully one day not going to be a certain body ideal to strive for. But until then, the change really starts from within, I think, because I'm doing just fine right now, looking at all the models at the Met Gala and following everyone on Instagram. I'm doing good right now because I changed completely how I feel about myself. I realized kind of just how little it matters in the whole scheme of things. And if I was happy with how I looked compared to just myself, let's just say, instead of the whole world around me, because if you compare yourself no matter what to the whole world around you, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. I just became concerned about how I looked, not compared to anybody else. I was not looking at myself compared to Kendall Jenner anymore, which I would do, which is just funny to me. Now I just look at myself compared to myself. And it's made me so much happier, and it's led to me feeling completely satisfied and content with myself, even around people I used to feel so terrible around, you know? I've seen a lot of people say that you need to start unfollowing models on Instagram to feel better and do stuff like that, kind of blocking out any way for you to compare yourself to others. I think that could be a good strategy, but I think what's even better than that is honestly just changing your thinking about it. It's hard when our whole society is really structured around looks right now, because everything seems to be about how you appear, how your body appears more specifically to the world. But I think if you change how you think about yourself and start to just love your body for where it's at right now, it's not always about the next step. Sure, I haven't reached where I want my body to be, but I love myself for where I'm at, because who wants to sit here being miserable thinking about how terrible they look all the time when you could be just accepting yourself for where you're at and accepting the process, because you'll be so much happier, you'll be so much less anxious and stressed if you just start loving yourself in the moment. Right this second, you have to start appreciating yourself for where you're at. Stop thinking about yourself in comparison to Kendall Jenner or Gigi Hadid, because it's not going to get you anywhere. You can be doing so much better things with your time than be sitting here comparing yourself to them. And honestly, that's what's worked for me, and I'm really, really happy about that. Obviously, our society has a problem right now, because I'm sure if I took a survey of everyone watching this video, I'm sure 95% of you would say that you have struggled with your body image or your perception of your body at some point or another. And this, I think, is a product of our society where looking your best is equivalent to like being the best person you can be and feeling the best, which is not always true. Looking your best means something different for every person, but I think we've somehow turned it into looking your best means like one thing that everyone has to aspire to. And just to bring light to how stupid it is and how quickly body image changes, I was going through an article the other day for a psychology paper, and I wrote a little paragraph about how body image has changed throughout the years. And I found an article from CNN to help me write, and it was saying how literally every decade there's a different body image to aspire to. Women are literally taking ribs out or starving themselves or doing 3,000 squats in a day to reach this like decade like body image that is the ideal. And it made me really question it. If there's a new fad for how you should look every 10 years, like that's so superficial. If we're gonna be changing our bodies every 10 years to fit this standard, we could be doing so much more with our times. And just looking at how we're spending our lives, our young lives, when we should be out having fun and making a difference and doing things, and when we should be doing all this stuff, we're thinking about how terrible we look all the time, and it's taking us out of the moments and making us feel like shit. And why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we doing it? We're doing it to ourselves. Society, as I said, plays a terrible role in it, but before we can change society, we must change ourselves first, I believe. There's so much more I'm missing, I feel like. I hate when I don't like plan these videos. I feel like I need to, but I don't want to like read a script, you know? I'm probably gonna end up making a part 2 to this with more collected thoughts, because this was a bit of a jumble, and I feel like this could be like a part 1, talking more about like my personal story and kind of how I've overcome it. I want to talk more about society because I want to go off about that, but I think I'll save that for another episode of Together. I don't know if this video was good or not. I have to watch this back. I hope it helped you in some sort of way. I just kind of wanted to make a body image video now that I've kind of overcome that chapter of my life. I'm hoping. I'm working on it still, but I've gotten so much better and I'm so happy about that. And I kind of just wanted to reflect on it and kind of share some of my thoughts with you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope it kind of gave you some insight or something. I hope the comments are on because I really want to hear your guys' thoughts on this and personal stories. I really hope the comments are on. Yeah, subscribe for more content every single Sunday. Not going too well. I'm so sorry, but summer is soon. This has been a hell of a year, and I will be posting every week during summer. Hold me accountable to that. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.